Welcome back to Homeschool Together Reviews. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button down below to get more reviews into your YouTube inbox. Today we are continuing on with our review of the various Explode the Code books. Today we are not doing Explode the Code, but the Beyond the Code. What is the Beyond the Code, Matt? Beyond the Code is where you're going to get your reading skills and your reasoning skills and getting your readers as part of this curriculum. Now, you may think, oh, Explode the Code 2, Beyond the Code 2, great, I'll link them up. They are not in line. I would say you're probably going to be doing the Beyond the Code 2 probably more with the Explode the Code 3 or the Explode the Code 4 levels. You may wait on that. So get through those Explode the Code levels so you can get into the long vowel sounds, which you'll see here. You do not get into the long vowel sounds in the level 2 curriculum. So they're kind of misaligned there, and I think there's some online guides, and I'll go ahead and post those in the show notes below so you can make the right choice for the level that you're at. But if you're looking for some readers, good reasoning, good reading comprehension skills in kind of like a workbooks format, absolutely this is the one for you if you're continuing through the Explode the Code series. Again, online copies are the digital online copies are the best. I put them into the binder, print them off. You can go through multiple children. If you are having children come through together, you can just print off another edition. If you want to redo a certain section because a learner kind of struggled through that, go ahead and print off some more pages. This is great for travel. This is great for homeschooling on the go, which all of us do. I love putting this into a backpack. If you have an independent learner, this is really nice. You can just give some instructions, work with another child. They can go do the work, come back. Doesn't require as much touch here. They do have about 10 or so reading stories and then the corresponding reasoning skills that go through that. And we'll go ahead and hop through, why not, and take a look at what is inside the Beyond the Code. So here we are in the Beyond the Code level 2, again in the printed book. I would really highly recommend that. Here we have a list of the contents. So these are basically the stories that you are going to go through. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stories in this book, about 90 pages. And we'll go ahead and take a look at what that is. And I'll go through the Send the Plum Back as the first one. This is obviously a little bit of a review, kind of setting the stage of where you are. But this is basically the first page that is pertaining to the Send the Plum Back, and that's the name of the reader, the story you're going to be going through. And what they like to do is get a little bit of preliminary vocabulary. These are words that are going to show up in the story that your learner may need a little bit of work for, getting prepared for as they get ready to read that short story. Now this is kind of a phonetic, both reading and writing section. And again, the thing I love about the Explode the Code and Beyond the Code books is that they really bring a lot of spelling and a lot of handwriting, which just doesn't happen with other hands-on phonics curriculums. You tend to have to bolt that type of stuff on. I love that this stuff is brought in here. So if you're looking to use this as a review book, which is exactly how we use it, as we finish our curriculum, I come in here and I backfill with Beyond the Code and Explode the Code. We tend to bring this when we're traveling. Tends to be a great time for us to do that and kind of review that content. So here where our child is having to learn how to say no, and it equals reading it the way that we say no. So it's kind of a phonetic spelling there. We go ahead and writing it there, reading a couple sentences. We have another word very similar to the no, where we have the OW ending, the O ending. So the grow, no, they're exactly the same. So I have grown a lot, but I'll grow more. And so go ahead and write that down. Next page here is we're reading sentences and matching them to the picture that we are seeing. And then boom, we're directly into our short story. So when I'm using this, I'm not having her do all these pages and then read the story. Stamina is a problem. So very often I'll have her do these 2 pages. The next day we'll come back and I'll say, hey, let's review a little bit of what we learned before. Okay, let's head into this, short story. And you'll see that the short story has, a couple lines here on the top, nice, beautiful Explode the Code expectation level art there. And when you flip that page, you see another page here, another bit of writing here, another one here, here, and here. And I think there's one more page here. So that was about 5 pages of reading, and that's a lot. Like I very often, when we did this with my learner, she was still struggling with her reading. Now she would just blaze through this. But when we were doing this, I was having to do maybe 2 pages at a time. and then maybe another 2 pages. So to get through this entire reader might take 2 days, maybe 3 days to get through it. And then we would sit back and maybe I would read it again, have her read certain pages again, really just continuing to work with our literacy, our active literacy, and getting through that short story. You may have an advanced reader who has a great stamina, can get all the way through that. That's great. Now, once you're done with the short story, there are pages here to help you with your reading comprehension. Was the plum a black pig? Was plum a black pig? And you put a sad face. No, he was not a black pig. Can it cost a lot to keep a pig? Oh, yes, it does. And then here we are going to have to write a sentence. I am a big proponent of letting them have grammar errors in their sentence writing because I never want to hinder their writing what is in their head, because very often what's in their head is way more complex than what they can write. Sometimes I might let her go and talk to the Google to do some spelling stuff so she can go off and try to find what is the correct spelling. But for the most part, I let her just write what she wants. Finishing the drawing, and then a little bit of writing here. I tend to not allow one-word answers and a little bit of silly words here. Definitely not. I was slacking here as a parent, so definitely understand there. And then there's a final page here as well where you're doing a little bit more work as well. So total about 7-8 pages of work with the reader kind of stuffed in between. So if you're thinking about how long does it take to do a level, I would think about a week, 2 weeks. If you have an accelerated reader, maybe a week. If you have a little bit of slower reader, maybe 2 weeks, maybe kind of 2.5 weeks. Totally reasonable, not a big problem. Then we go ahead and get into the next story, which is the camp out. Again, another kind of phonetic element where they're teaching them kind of combining these syllable words into a single word and how to kind of decode those words. Again, here we go with doing that kind of like split decoding, more vocabulary here that they're going to find, matching the sentences, and then again, we are back into the short story. So if you remember what I said before, level 2, you haven't even learned your long vowel sound, and here you see them all over the place. This book is not meant to be paired with the level 2 of Explode the Code. It's meant to be paired kind of asynchronous and in a different synchronous format. So I'll go ahead and post that link of the order, the expectations for when you would expect to have the Beyond the Code level 2 as part of your workflow. But again, here we're looking at a short story, and you can imagine that is, another five-ish so pages for that short story, and it ends right there. And back again, we are doing the smiley face, sad face. We have some writing here. We have another artwork here as well. And then we have some simple sentences that we're writing. And then we'll be done again. And then we'll go into the next short story here with Greg Can't Sleep. And that just continues all the way to the very, very, very end where the book is over. And we have kind of a list of vocabulary words at the end. But there's literally just keeps repeating that same flow all the way through the curriculum. So I hope that review and that walkthrough helped you make a decision. Very often we can't really get our hands on these books. They're available online or they're on Amazon, and you're just always wondering, scratching your chin going, should I use that? When do I use that? When do I work with that? So I hope this review and this walkthrough gave you a good idea of what is inside the Beyond the Code Level 2 book. It kind of builds off the Beyond the Code Level 1, and it is aligned with the various levels of Explode the Code. Again, I've used this book as kind of a review, so when I finish a major level of my reading curriculum, I'll have my daughter go ahead and go through this as just kind of a mastery thing for her to really build a lot of confidence, knowing that she is, getting better and better and better. I like using this as a review. If you want to use this as your main part of your main curriculum with the Explode the Code, levels, level 1, the half levels, the teaching manuals, and then layering in the Beyond the Code as well, totally fine. You don't have to do it as a review. It's just as good as a standalone curriculum. I like using the print-off books, and you have some area here to put in some manipulatives, some additional phonics cards, vocabulary cards, maybe some handwriting pages, whatever you feel like you need to add to this curriculum to flesh it all out, or whatever elements that your learner is struggling with. I struggle with everything at all times. But this is a great curriculum. This is something we've used for multiple years. I will continue to use this as multiple years with my daughters. this is a great thing for us. So I hope this helped you make a good decision. I know reading curriculums can be scary. I know readers can be scary, trying to figure out what's going to work for your family. Is this going to work for my learner? I think for the price point of these books, even if you choose to buy them online on Amazon or through another retailer, they're not a big financial outlay. $10, $15, $20 per workbook, I don't think is going to break the bank, and you can't go wrong.